The skies above Vera shimmered with colors that no human eye had ever seen before. Floating cities glided silently among the clouds, their towers gleaming with crystal light. Below, vast forests of luminous flora stretched across mountains and valleys, each tree and plant glowing softly. From a distance, the world looked like a painting, but up close, it was alive. Every leaf, every stone seemed to hum with quiet energy. Queen Lysara stood at the balcony of her palace, her silver robes catching the light of the twin suns. She was tall, graceful, and radiated authority. Her eyes, a deep shade of violet, scanned the horizon, though her mind was elsewhere. Today, the human visitor would arrive. The human was meant to be more than a guest. He was meant to be her groom. Humans were rare in the galaxy. The Varans had always regarded them as fragile and unpredictable. Many in the council whispered that this union was a mistake, that the queen would be unwise to trust a human with her life, let alone her kingdom. But Lysara had her reasons. She knew humans were different. She had sensed it the first time she had read the reports from explorers. Humans survived places no other species could endure. Humans adapted, humans fought back, and she wanted to see it with her own eyes. The palace gates opened and a transport ship descended slowly from the sky. It was small, unlike the grand alien crafts that hovered around the floating city. From it, a human stepped out, Elias Hart. He was of average height, with brown hair and eyes that seemed too calm for someone arriving on an alien world. He carried only a small bag and walked with a confidence that was quiet, almost humble. Lysara watched as he approached, surrounded by her guards. He moved with ease, his steps measured but certain. There was no fear in his eyes, only curiosity. The queen tilted her head, intrigued. This human did not act like the reports had warned. "Welcome to Vera, Captain Hart," Lysara said, her voice firm but polite. "Thank you, Your Majesty," Elias replied. His voice was calm, steady, and carried a warmth that seemed rare for his kind. "It is an honor to be here." The queen gestured toward the palace gardens. "Come, let us walk. There is much you must learn about this world before the ceremony." As they walked, Elias observed everything. He looked at the floating cities, the glowing trees, and the delicate energy streams that flowed like rivers through the forests. He did not stare in awe as most humans would. Instead, he studied them carefully, noting patterns, paths, and potential dangers. "You are studying," Lysara said, noticing his careful gaze. "I see you are not overwhelmed by our world." "I prefer to understand before I react," Elias replied. "I have learned that rushing leads to mistakes, especially in unfamiliar places." Lysara raised an eyebrow. She liked this about him. Humans were often seen as weak, but this one seemed to think differently. He was cautious, observant, and calm under pressure. Perhaps there was more to him than anyone expected. They reached a bridge of clear crystal that arched over a glowing river. Beneath them, small creatures of light swam and darted through the currents. The queen paused. "This ceremony will bind more than just two people," she explained. "It is a promise between our worlds. Some say humans cannot endure our ways, but you will prove them wrong, or so I hope." Elias smiled faintly. "I will do my best, Your Majesty. That is all I can promise." The day passed with formal introductions. The Council of Vera observed Elias with cautious eyes. Whispers followed him wherever he went. "He seems weak," some said. "Too fragile to stand beside the queen." Others were less harsh, noting his calm demeanor. Lysara ignored them all. She was curious to see what he could do. That evening, the palace gardens held a small gathering. Lights floated in the air, casting soft reflections on the crystalline paths. Elias walked among the Varans, greeting each with respect. He did not pretend to be more than he was, and the queen noticed that he treated everyone equally, regardless of rank. "You move well among them," Lysara observed. Many humans would falter under their scrutiny. Elias looked at her thoughtful. "I have learned that trust begins with respect. Even in battle, understanding others is more powerful than brute strength." The queen was quiet for a moment. She had heard similar words from diplomats, but humans rarely acted on them. She sensed something different in Elias. He had a presence she could not yet define. As night fell, the twin moons rose above the floating city. The light bathed the palace in silver. Elias and Lysara stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing forests. "Tell me, Captain Hart," Lysara said softly, "are humans truly as fragile as my council believes?" Elias smiled, not arrogantly, but with quiet certainty. We are strong in ways that cannot always be measured. We survive, we adapt, and we protect those we care for. Strength is not always about size or speed, it is about will, strategy, and courage. Lysera studied him, her curiosity growing. There was a fire in his words, a subtle power she had not expected from someone so unassuming. She wondered how much of it was hidden, waiting to be revealed. Before she could ask more, a messenger arrived. Your Majesty, the preparations for the Festival of Trials are complete. Captain Hart is expected to participate. Lysera nodded. She had almost forgotten. The Festival of Trials was an ancient tradition. Every potential ally or royal partner was tested, not only in intellect and skill but in courage. Many had failed before. Humans were not known to compete in such trials, and the council expected Elias to falter. Elias, however, seemed unfazed. Then I should prepare, he said simply. The queen watched him leave, a strange feeling settling in her chest. There was something about him, something she could not yet name. His calm, quiet demeanor did not match the storm she sensed beneath it. That night, Lysera could not sleep. She walked through the palace corridors thinking of the human groom. Other Varans had mocked him, yet she felt a deep sense of anticipation. What if the human was not fragile? What if he was stronger than anyone imagined? The next morning, the Festival of Trials began. Aliens from across Vera gathered to watch. The crowd was immense, their voices echoing across the crystalline valleys. Elias Hart stepped onto the first challenge platform, his expression calm. The aliens around him whispered and pointed, certain that he would fail. The first trial tested intelligence, a complex puzzle of energy streams and floating crystals. The alien participants moved gracefully, adjusting the crystals carefully. Elias studied the pattern for a moment, then moved with surprising precision. Within minutes, the puzzle shifted and aligned perfectly. The crowd murmured. The queen's eyes widened. How does he do that? One of the Varan nobles whispered. Lysera did not answer. She simply watched, her curiosity turning into intrigue. This human was not ordinary. He was quick to learn, fast to adapt and calm under pressure. The next trials would test physical strength and endurance. The aliens assumed Elias would struggle, and at first he did. The tasks were unlike anything humans typically faced, but then he began to move differently, fluidly, efficiently, using balance and clever timing. He climbed, jumped, and dodged obstacles with a skill that left even the best alien athletes surprised. Lysera's heart raced as she observed. She had never seen a human move like this. He was not the strongest by alien standards, but there was something in his approach, a hidden potential that defied expectations. By the end of the day, Elias had passed the intelligence and strategy trials with ease. He had performed admirably in the physical challenges, though he had yet to face the most dangerous tests. The crowd, initially mocking, now whispered in disbelief. The queen stood silently, her mind racing. This human, seemingly ordinary and fragile, had... The morning sun rose over Vera, casting long beams of golden light across the floating cities. The twin moons had disappeared beyond the horizon, leaving the sky a brilliant blue. The air buzzed with energy, and the forests below shimmered as the light touched each glowing leaf and crystal. Queen Lysera stood at the entrance of the great arena, her robes flowing in the gentle breeze. The Festival of Trials was in full swing. Aliens from across the planet had gathered to witness the events, and the excitement was electric. Whispers traveled quickly through the crowd. The human, they said. Will he survive the next challenge? Will he fail? Elias Hart approached the arena calmly, carrying only a simple satchel. His expression was focused, but his eyes held a quiet curiosity. He glanced at the queen, who nodded in encouragement. The next trial, Lysera explained, is the challenge of strength and agility. It will test not only your body but your ability to think and adapt under pressure. Few have passed it, many have failed. Elias bowed slightly. I am ready, Your Majesty. The arena floor shifted beneath them. Platforms rose from the ground, forming an intricate maze of walls, swinging pendulums and energy fields. The challenge was clear. Navigate the course and reach the central platform. But every step carried danger. Misstep, and the participant could be knocked off or trapped by the energy streams. The alien participants, tall and muscular, leapt forward with grace. They moved as if the maze was familiar, Yet many hesitated at the swinging pendulums. Elias paused for a moment. He examined the patterns, studying the timing of each obstacle. Then slowly he moved. At first, his progress seemed awkward. He stumbled over a small wall and narrowly avoided a swinging pendulum. The crowd chuckled, whispering that the human would fail, but Elias did not panic. Instead, he adjusted. He measured each step carefully, finding balance and rhythm. With surprising speed, he began to move fluidly through the maze. Lysara watched in astonishment. The human's movements were clever. He used the pendulums to propel himself forward, leaped from wall to wall with calculated precision, and even caught an energy stream in midair to swing past a deadly trap. He reached the central platform faster than many of the best alien athletes. The crowd fell silent. Aliens who had laughed moments ago now stared in disbelief. The Queen's violet eyes widened. Elias Hart, the human groom, had surpassed their expectations in a trial designed to challenge the strongest among them. Impressive, Lysara murmured. She had seen skill before, but this was something else. Humans were supposed to be fragile, but this one, he was exceptional. The next challenge awaited, the test of strategy. A holographic battlefield appeared on the arena floor, displaying an intricate map of terrain, obstacles, and virtual enemy units. Each participant was given a team of holographic soldiers and instructed to capture the enemy's base while minimizing losses. The alien participants immediately moved their units, commanding them with precision. Many relied on brute force, sending waves of units forward. Elias paused, studying the map carefully. He noticed patterns in the virtual enemy's movements that the others had ignored. He repositioned his units using terrain to his advantage. When the battle began, his strategy was flawless. By the end of the simulation, Elias had captured the enemy base with minimal losses. He had not only won, but done so with efficiency and foresight that impressed even the most experienced Veyran commanders. The Queen could not hide her astonishment.
"He learns quickly," she whispered to herself.
"And he adapts faster than anyone I have seen." As the day progressed, Elias faced more challenges: the test of endurance, the trial of precision, and the challenge of observation. Each was designed to push participants to their limits, but Elias met them calmly. He did not rely on raw strength alone. He observed, calculated, and acted with timing that made his actions seem effortless. During the test of endurance, he carried a heavy load across a steep cliff path while dodging shifting energy traps. Aliens who had trained for decades struggled, but Elias moved steadily, never losing balance, never giving in to fatigue. In the trial of precision, he had to thread a fine crystal needle through a series of rotating energy rings. Aliens with far more delicate appendages struggled, but Elias studied the motion and timing, and within moments he completed the task. The crowd gasped. By the end of the day, whispers turned to astonished murmurs. "The human is extraordinary," they said. "He surpasses our strongest." Lysara could hardly believe her eyes. The man she had thought ordinary, perhaps fragile, had revealed skills and resilience that no one could have expected. She felt a mixture of admiration and curiosity. Who was this human? And what else could he do? As the sun dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows over the arena, Elias approached the Queen. He was calm, composed, but his eyes held a spark of energy. "You have performed well, Captain Hart," Lysara said. "Even I did not expect such skill and strength." Elias bowed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I do what I can. I'm still learning about your world and its people." "Learning quickly," she replied, a small smile forming. "You adapt faster than any alien I have known." At that moment, a sudden alert rang across the arena. The energy field shifted unexpectedly, signaling the final challenge, a test of bravery. A massive holographic creature appeared at the center of the platform, roaring and thrashing as participants had to approach and retrieve a glowing artifact from its lair. The alien participants hesitated. Many had never faced a creature like this. Their movements became cautious, hesitant, and fearful. Elias, however, walked forward calmly. He studied the creature's behavior, noticing patterns in its movements. When it lunged, he sidestepped, then timed his advance with perfect precision. He reached the glowing artifact and lifted it high, completing the final trial without injury. The crowd erupted into cheers and astonished gasps. Aliens who had doubted him now stared in awe. The Queen's face was pale with amazement. She had never seen a human move with such courage, intelligence, and control. For the first time, she realized that humans were not fragile. Humans were different. They were adaptable, resourceful, and capable of extraordinary feats when their minds and bodies worked together. Elias Hart had shown her the truth of his species. The festival of trials ended with the crowd applauding, and the Queen stepping forward. "Captain Hart," she said, her voice steady but full of wonder, "you have passed every trial, not as a guest, not as a stranger, but as a warrior, a strategist, and a partner. You have proven yourself in ways that exceed expectation." Elias bowed again, humble but proud. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only wish to serve and protect those I stand beside." Lysara's violet eyes met his, and in that moment she saw something more than skill. She saw courage, humility, and a quiet strength that could not be measured by tests or trials. She felt a shift in her perception, a growing respect that bordered on awe. As the sun set and the twin moons began to rise, Elias and Lysara walked through the palace gardens together. The glowing trees and floating lights created a scene of beauty and serenity. The Queen's mind was full of thoughts she could not yet speak aloud. "This human," she whispered to herself, "is unlike any I have ever known. He is calm, clever, and brave. There is more to him than meets the eye. I wonder, what other strength does he hide?" Elias walked beside her silently, sensing her thoughts but not pressing. He had learned long ago that patience was often the greatest strength. For now he had passed the festival of trials. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and he was ready. The night air was cool and filled. The forests of Vera were alive with soft light, the glowing trees casting delicate patterns across the ground. Crystal-like plants shimmered, reflecting the rays of the twin moons, and small creatures of light darted through the air. To an untrained eye, it was beautiful but dangerous. Every step carried a risk. Queen Lysara rode beside Elias Hart, her robes brushing against the leaves as they moved along a narrow path. The festival of trials had ended the previous day, and the Queen wanted to show him the deeper parts of her world, places that no ordinary visitor had ever seen. Elias had agreed without hesitation, and she found his calm presence reassuring. "Be careful," Lysara said softly, her violet eyes scanning the shadows. "The forests are safe for most, but there are always dangers." Elias smiled faintly. "I am aware, Your Majesty. I have learned to observe, and observation keeps one alive." They continued, the path winding through tall crystal trees and over sparkling streams. The air was filled with a faint hum of energy, and Elias took careful steps, noting the patterns of the forest. He noticed subtle changes in the terrain, small rocks that could shift, energy pulses in the plants, and faint markings that hinted at other creatures nearby. Lysara glanced at him, impressed. "You notice everything. Few Varans see so much, even after years of training." "I have to," Elias replied. "It is the best way to protect yourself and others." As they walked deeper, the forest grew darker. The glowing plants were less frequent, and the trees formed thick barriers. Suddenly, a group of figures emerged from the shadows, masked, agile, and armed with strange energy weapons. They moved silently, surrounding the pair. "Ambush," one of the masked figures shouted, though his voice carried no fear. Lysara's eyes widened. She had expected many things during her reign, but attacks on the Queen while accompanied by a human visitor were unthinkable. She drew her ceremonial energy blade, the crystal light casting a soft glow, and prepared to defend herself. Elias did not panic. He dropped his satchel, stepping slightly in front of the Queen. His eyes scanned the attackers, noting their positions, movements, and timing. The humans in his history books had faced similar ambushes, and he had learned to remain calm under pressure. The attackers moved first. Energy blasts shot toward the pair, but Elias ducked and rolled, narrowly avoiding the strikes. He grabbed a small crystal branch from the ground and used it as a lever, deflecting a beam back toward one of the assailants. The attacker stumbled, giving him an opening. Lysara gasped. She had never seen a human move with such speed and precision. Most Varans would have been struck in the first moments. Elias, however, seemed to anticipate every attack. He did not fight with brute force. He used timing, agility, and clever tools from his surroundings. One attacker lunged at him with a short blade. Elias sidestepped, grabbed the attacker's wrist, and twisted, disarming him. Another came from behind, swinging an energy whip. Elias ducked under it and tripped the attacker with a carefully placed foot. In seconds, the group was disoriented, their coordination disrupted by his movements. Lysara watched, unable to look away. The human she had thought fragile was moving with strength, skill, and precision she had never imagined. She realized, with a rush of astonishment, that his hidden potential was far greater than anyone on Vera had ever seen. Elias spoke calmly. "Queen Lysara, move behind me and stay low." She obeyed instinctively, noting that he was not only fighting but protecting her. The attackers regrouped, forming a tighter circle, but Elias anticipated this. He jumped onto a low branch, then launched himself over two attackers landing behind them. Using swift movements, he disarmed another attacker with a twist and a push. The masked group began to panic. They had underestimated the human. His tactics were clever, unpredictable, and efficient. Lysara felt her respect growing into awe. Here was someone who not only survived but turned the danger to their advantage. Elias paused for a moment, catching his breath but keeping his eyes on the remaining attackers. "Enough!" he shouted. "Leave now or you will regret it." The attackers hesitated. No human had ever confronted them like this. They had expected fear, weakness, and hesitation. Instead, they found calm confidence and skill. Slowly, one by one, they retreated into the shadows, disappearing as silently as they had arrived. Lysara took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly. "Elias, you—" she began, but the words failed her. How could she describe what she had just witnessed? A human, small, unassuming, had faced a dangerous ambush and emerged victorious. Not with sheer strength, but with intelligence, skill, and courage. Elias turned to her, his expression calm. "It is important to remain calm and observe. Panic can make even the strongest warrior fail. The key is to use your surroundings and your mind as well as your body. You—" Lysara paused, struggling for words. "I had no idea. Humans could—" He smiled faintly. "Many underestimate humans, Your Majesty. That is their mistake." The Queen's mind raced. The Council had been wrong. Humans were not fragile or weak, they were adaptable, clever, and brave. Elias had shown her something no alien had ever demonstrated. She could not hide the astonishment in her eyes. As they continued through the forest, Elias explained small lessons quietly. How to move without alerting predators, how to sense energy shifts in the environment, and how to use simple objects as tools or weapons. Lysara listened intently, absorbing every word. She realized that this human could teach her much more than she had anticipated. By the time they returned to the palace, Lysara's respect for Elias had grown into something deeper. She no longer saw him as a visitor or a groom by ceremony alone. She saw him as a partner, someone whose hidden strengths could change the way she thought about humans and even her own role as a leader. Later that evening, the council gathered to discuss the recent events. Whispers had spread quickly about the ambush and how Elias had handled it. Many were skeptical, refusing to believe a human could achieve what they claimed. Others were curious, but none could deny the truth once Lysara described the attack in detail. "The human survived and protected me," Lysara said firmly. "Not with raw power alone, but with skill, intelligence, and courage. He has shown abilities that surpass what we expected from his species." One council member frowned. "Perhaps it was luck, Your Majesty. Or the attackers were not skilled." "Luck?" Lysara's eyes narrowed. "Luck would not explain how he anticipated their movements, disarmed multiple attackers, and kept us both safe. Luck would not explain his calm and precise actions under pressure. Elias' heart is far stronger than any of you realize." Some council members shifted uneasily in their seats. They had always underestimated humans, but the Queen's words were clear. Elias had proven himself in a way no one could ignore. As the night deepened, Lysara returned to her chambers. She found Elias studying the palace maps, quietly noting patrols and structural layouts. "You continue your observations," she said, smiling. "Even after what happened today, you are not satisfied?" "I am always learning," Elias replied. "It is how one survives, and it is how one protects those who cannot protect themselves." Lysara's heart felt a mixture of admiration and something she could not yet name. Humans were remarkable. Elias' heart was remarkable. She had expected a fragile visitor, a diplomatic symbol. Instead, she found a man of skill, courage, and hidden strength. A man who could stand beside her as more than a partner in ceremony. That night, as the twin moons reflected off the palace crystals, Lysara realized that the true festival of trials had only begun. The ambush had revealed a hidden side of Elias' heart, a side that no council report, no diplomat, no historian could have predicted. He was stronger, braver, and smarter than anyone imagined, and Lysara, the Queen of Vera, felt both awe and a quiet excitement. She knew that this human groom had the power to change not only her life, but perhaps the entire world. The forest ambush had ended, but the real test, the test of trust, the grand hall of the Veran palace shimmered with crystal light, reflecting off walls that seemed alive with energy. The council of elders had gathered, their expressions a mixture of suspicion and irritation. Queen Lysara entered, her silver robes flowing like liquid light, and Elias' heart followed, calm and composed. The council murmured among themselves. Many of them had not forgotten the ambush in the forests. Some doubted Elias's abilities, claiming luck or coincidence had allowed him to survive. Others whispered about his performance in the Festival of Trials. The Queen's favor had caused tension, and tonight the council demanded answers. "Your Majesty," Elder Varnus began, his voice firm and cautious, "we must question the wisdom of your choice. This human, he is not one of us. He is fragile, untested, and unproven. Can you truly trust him to stand beside you as a partner?" Lysara's violet eyes met his. She held her ground, calm but unyielding. "Captain Elias Hart has already proven himself. He passed the Festival of Trials, defended us both during an ambush, and demonstrated abilities far beyond what any council member expected. He has earned his place beside me." Varnus narrowed his eyes. Perhaps it was luck? Perhaps the attackers underestimated him. How do we know he is truly capable? Elias stepped forward. "If I may, council members, I do not seek to prove myself by words alone. Actions speak louder than any claim. Allow me to demonstrate my understanding of Veran strategy and my ability to lead when necessary." The council was silent. Some exchanged skeptical glances, but Lysara inclined her head. "Do as he says. Show them what you are capable of." Elias moved to a large holographic table at the center of the hall. Maps of Vera's territories appeared in midair, dotted with markers representing key points of defense, supply lines, and potential threats. He traced his finger across the maps, explaining his observations. "The ambush in the forest," Elias began, "was predictable if one understands patterns and timing. The attackers relied on the element of surprise, but they did not account for adaptability. By observing their movements and using the terrain, one can neutralize threats efficiently." He demonstrated several strategies, combining both human logic and the known strengths of Veran forces. Each plan was clear, precise, and accounted for minimal losses. Some council members began to nod, reluctant but impressed. Varnus spoke again. "You are clever, human, but strategy alone cannot measure strength. Physical ability is also essential." Elias nodded. "I understand. Allow me to show you." He walked to a ceremonial pedestal at the end of the hall. A crystal artifact rested upon it, a weight far heavier than any human or average Veran could lift easily. Murmurs spread through the council. Many doubted a human could manage it. Elias placed his hands on the artifact. The crystal gleamed, humming with energy, but he remained calm. With a steady breath, he lifted it, holding it above his head. The weight was immense, yet he did not struggle. The council gasped. Even seasoned Veran warriors had struggled with this task in the past. Lysara's heart raced. The human she had once thought fragile now stood before them, demonstrating strength, control, and poise. She realized that Elias's abilities combined mind, body, and spirit in a way that no Veran had ever experienced. "Remarkable," she whispered. Barely audible, Elder Varnus stepped forward, still skeptical but intrigued. "You are indeed strong, human. But strength alone does not make one worthy. Can you lead? Can you protect our people in times of real crisis?" Elias's gaze was steady. "I can. Allow me to show you with a simulation." He gestured to the holographic maps. This time he displayed a complex scenario. Multiple enemy fleets approaching Vera's key cities. Resources were limited and civilian populations were at risk. The council watched as Elias quickly organized defensive strategies, allocating forces intelligently, predicting enemy moves, and minimizing harm. Each decision was precise. Each calculation accounted for timing, terrain, and the unique abilities of Veran forces. Slowly, the council began to see a pattern. Elias was not only strong and brave but also a brilliant tactician. Lysera could see the shift in their expressions. The doubt in their eyes was giving way to awe. Even Elder Varnus could not hide his surprise. "You anticipate threats and respond quickly," Varnus admitted grudgingly. "I did not think a human could achieve this." Elias bowed slightly. "It is not about being human or alien. It is about observation, calculation, and courage. Strength comes from knowing what to do and acting without hesitation." The Queen stepped forward, her voice firm. "Council members, Captain Hart has proven himself in trials, in combat, and in strategy. His abilities are extraordinary and his mind is sharp. I trust him. You should as well." There was a pause. The room was silent as the council members absorbed her words. Some nodded slowly while others remained hesitant, but the evidence was undeniable. Elias Hart was no ordinary human. To further prove his capability, Elias suggested a practical demonstration. He would lead a small team through a series of obstacles set up in the palace grounds, simulated attacks, rescue operations, and defensive maneuvers. The council observed as he guided both humans and Veyran warriors. Every step he took, every command he gave was precise and effective. By the end of the demonstration, even the most skeptical members had to admit his abilities. Lysera watched with quiet satisfaction. The human groom she had chosen was not only strong but also wise, brave, and capable of earning respect on his own merit. "Captain Hart," Lysera said, her voice full of authority and admiration, "you have shown that your strength is not merely physical. You possess intellect, courage, and skill. You are worthy to stand beside me not as a guest but as a partner." Elias bowed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will always strive to protect and serve alongside you." The council members exchanged looks. Some still had reservations, but none could deny the truth. Elias Hart had earned his place. Humans, underestimated for centuries, were proving themselves in ways the galaxy had not imagined. Later, in private, Lysera walked with Elias through the palace gardens. The air was cool, and the light of the twin moons reflected off the crystal paths. "You have done more than I expected," she said softly. "The council will accept you now, though some will remain cautious." Elias smiled. "Caution is wise. Trust must be earned. But I will continue to prove that humans are capable and dependable." Lysera's violet eyes held a mixture of admiration and curiosity. "Humans, they are stronger than I imagined. I see now that their strength is not just physical. It is resilience, strategy, and courage. You have shown me that firsthand," he nodded. "And I have learned much from you as well, Your Majesty. You are wise, brave, and careful. Your guidance has made my path clearer." The Queen realized that their partnership was more than ceremonial. It was a meeting of minds and spirits. Humans were not only resilient, they could challenge expectations, change opinions, and inspire even the most powerful beings. Elias Hart had done all that and more. As they returned to the palace, the twin moons now high in the sky, Lysera felt a sense of excitement. The council had been convinced, but the galaxy had not yet seen the full potential of humans. She knew that future challenges would come. Larger threats, political struggles, and even dangers that could affect the entire planet. But with Elias by her side, she felt confident. He had shown courage in the forest, skill in the festival of trials, and brilliance in strategy. The hidden strength she had sensed was now becoming visible, and she could not wait to see how far it would reach. That night, Lysera allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. The human groom she had once doubted had revealed layers of ability she had never imagined. He was calm, intelligent, strong, and brave. In a world of floating cities and shimmering forests, Elias Hart was a force unlike any other. The council had been won over, but Lysera knew that the true test was still ahead. Threats would come, challenges would rise, and enemies would underestimate them once more. Yet she had faith. With Elias Hart, humans could prove that they were not only worthy but extraordinary. And Lysera, the Queen of Vera, felt a thrill of anticipation. The next chapters of their story together were just beginning. The skies above Vera darkened suddenly, the twin moons hidden by thick clouds. From the horizon, a massive alien warship appeared. its hull black and menacing, cutting through the shimmering atmosphere like a predator. The people of the floating cities paused, fear spreading like wildfire. Few had ever seen a ship of this size and power approach Vera without warning. Queen Lysera stood at the palace balcony, her robes flowing in the rising wind. She felt a rush of tension, but her gaze fell on Elias Hart. The human Groom, calm as ever, scanned the warship through the observation crystals. His eyes did not waver. His mind seemed already several steps ahead. "Your Majesty," Elias said quietly, "this is not a threat we cannot handle, but we must act quickly and strategically. Panicking will cost lives." The Queen studied him. She had seen him face challenges before, trials, ambushes, and skeptical councils. But this was different. This was not a controlled test. This was real. The weight of the planet and its people rested on their decisions. "Captain Hart," she said, her voice steady but urgent. "What should we do?" Elias turned to her. "We combine human adaptability with Veyran technology. We do not need to match them ship for ship. We need to outthink them." The council had gathered immediately. They looked worried, though some had begun to trust Elias after his previous demonstrations of skill. "Humans are clever," he explained. "But we must act quickly. The warship will attempt to disable our energy shields and destroy the floating cities if we do nothing." Without hesitation, Elias took command. Using the palace holomaps, he organized the defense. Energy shields were strengthened at critical points. Interceptor ships were deployed in precise formations, and civilian evacuation plans were executed with careful coordination. Every move was deliberate, every decision calculated. The alien warship fired first. Massive beams of energy cut through the atmosphere, striking the city outskirts. Panic began to spread, but Elias remained calm. "Steady," he said, raising his voice so the council could hear. "Trust the system. Trust your training. We will counter this." Elias moved quickly, coordinating Veyran ships and human engineers who had been sent as advisors. He calculated trajectories, timing, and angles of attack, predicting the enemy's moves before they occurred. When the warship fired again, the shields absorbed the energy, and interceptor ships executed evasive maneuvers, redirecting the beams toward empty space. The Queen watched, astonished. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy, yet here was one human, using speed, logic, and courage to command an alien defense system. Her admiration grew into awe. Elias Hart was no ordinary human. He was extraordinary. "Captain Hart," Lysera said softly, "you are incredible. I have never seen anything like this." He did not answer with words. Instead, he directed a series of calculated strikes. Small Veyran drones were sent into the warship's vulnerable ports, causing localized explosions. The massive ship shuddered and alarms blared. Each action was precise, designed to weaken the enemy while minimizing damage to the planet. The council, who had doubted him weeks ago, now watched in amazement. Even Elder Varnus, once the most skeptical, nodded silently. The human they had mocked was saving their world. Elias then focused on a crucial part of the battle. The warship's main energy core was exposed during a maneuver. He ordered a team to deploy a specialized device, combining human engineering with Veyran technology. The device attached to the core and emitted a controlled energy pulse, destabilizing the ship from within. The enemy crew attempted to counterattack, but Elias had anticipated their strategy. He had positioned defensive drones and energy barriers, ensuring minimal interference. The massive warship began to falter, its weapons offline, its systems failing. Lysera felt her heart race. The human she had once doubted was now leading the defense with brilliance and courage. Every decision he made, every command he issued was precise. The city below, once trembling with fear, now moved with confidence under his guidance. Finally, the warship began to drift uncontrollably. Its engines failed, and it crashed into the mountains outside the floating cities, creating a massive impact but causing no casualties. The alien attackers who had survived surrendered. Veyra was safe. The citizens of Veyra cheered. The Queen stepped forward, her heart swelling with pride. She turned to Elias, who remained calm but visibly satisfied with the result. "You have done it," she said. "You have saved Veyra, not just with strength but with intelligence, strategy, and courage. You have shown the true power of humans." Elias looked at her, humility in his expression. "I did what I could, Your Majesty." The people followed orders. The technology followed instructions. Strength alone is not enough. It is the combination of mind and action that achieves victory. The Queen's violet eyes shone. And humans. They are stronger than we ever imagined. Later in the palace gardens, the celebration continued. Varans and humans alike praised Elias Hart. Children ran alongside him, mimicking his calm movements and precision. Council members approached to congratulate him, some bowing respectfully. The Queen walked beside him, feeling a mixture of pride and something she could not yet name. "Elias," she said quietly, "today you have done more than I ever imagined. You have shown me and all of Vera the strength of your people. You are no ordinary human. You are extraordinary." Elias smiled faintly. "I only wish to stand beside you to protect and support your people." "That is enough for me." The Queen studied him, realizing that his strength was more than physical or intellectual. It was a strength of character, a resilience and courage that inspired everyone around him. The hidden potential she had sensed was now fully revealed. In the following days, Vera recovered. The council officially acknowledged Elias's achievements. He was not only accepted as a partner for the Queen, but also recognized as a capable leader and strategist. Humans, once underestimated, now earned respect across the planet. Queen Lysara and Elias walked together through the city streets, observing the repairs and celebrations. Citizens smiled and waved, children called out to them, and merchants offered gifts of thanks. The Queen felt a sense of unity she had never experienced before. "Your people will remember this," she said softly. "And so will mine." Elias nodded. "Then perhaps we can build something new. A future where humans and Varans stand together, stronger than before." The Queen smiled. She knew that with Elias beside her, the possibilities were endless. Humans had always been underestimated, but now the galaxy had witnessed their true potential. Elias Hart had revealed not only his hidden strength, but also the strength of his entire species. That night, under the twin moons, Lysara allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. The human groom who had arrived quietly, almost unremarkably, had become the hero of Vera. His calm intelligence, courage, and skill had changed everything. She realized that strength was not only in physical power, it was in the mind, in strategy, in the courage to face impossible odds. And as she looked at Elias Hart, standing calmly beside her, she understood that the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The hidden strength of one human had become the hope of an entire planet. The Queen turned to him, her eyes soft with admiration. "Together we can face anything," she said. Elias smiled. "Yes, Your Majesty. Together." The people of Vera cheered, the floating cities glowing brighter than ever. Above them, the twin moons reflected in the crystal towers, a symbol of hope and unity. The Queen and her human groom had proven that strength could take many forms, and in the heart of one human, an entire world had found its protector. Vera's future was secure, and the galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary: the courage, intelligence, and hidden strength of a human.